For persons with autistic spectrum disorders, ASD, this encompasses people with Asperger's syndrome and even people who are a bit lower functioning, even non-verbal. I am representing the Pakistan Autism Meetup group from Pakistan. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. Okay, I have Asperger's syndrome. It is an autistic spectrum disorder characterized by major difficulties in social interaction, limited interest, obsession, certain subjects that I am good at, but the rest of the things I am really not good at, anxiety, and in some cases even learning disability. I have dyscalculia, I have problems in mathematics, so I have problems remembering numbers, so I need to write everything down. Next. My unique circumstances forced me to think about working part-time at a very young age of 12. When I was only 12 years old, my father was not very well and I was the only son. So at very young age, I was working part-time also, which helped me gain skills by practicing, making mistakes, learning from them and trying different kinds of work. Next. I've been working now for 15 years and I'm currently a graphic designer, multimedia teacher and brand manager aside from being an autism awareness activist. Next. I teach not only at universities but also at training centers such as Arena Multimedia in Karachi, where I trained more than 2,500 students over the past 6 years. Even those with physical disabilities, learning disabilities, and I have learned more about the process of imparting skills and motivating students to become professionals because I went through that same problems myself. So that is why it is easier for me to understand the difficulties of a student, and I will tell you more about this. In this presentation, as a person with autistic spectrum disorder, I will share techniques, skills and ways that others can also follow or apply to become professionals, especially if they have a learning disability or a challenge. Next. Next, yes. Everyone can work and gain employment, but as with all things, you must prepare. You cannot just suddenly expect a person to become a professional. It is not possible immediately. Work needs to be done. You know, a person with autistic spectrum disorders needs longer to understand the work, the structure. You must repeat it, you must practice it, you must gain confidence, and then finally prepare for the environment also. So the first point that I show you here is you must identify areas of interest of the child. You cannot get the child interested in things that the child does not want to get interested in. You will automatically, through the learning process, the child will, in some situations, in some things, it will be very understanding and child will want to do them more. While he or she is young and care must be taken to build upon this. You must encourage children to learn more about this field, and the more the parent takes an interest in the subject, the child will also think about it and maybe even start learning about it on his own. You must start telling the child when he or she is young. Do not wait till the child is like 18 or 19 years of age. You have to start even before that if possible. This is very important. Young children learn faster. When I was young, I used to sit behind the people who worked for my father and saw them working on the computer. And just by looking, I taught myself how to use computer. That was the first time I used computer on my own. So everybody can work and gain employment, but as with all things, number two, if a child has communication difficulties in autism spectrum disorder, there are going to be communication difficulties. And so you repeat the procedure again and again and again. So child can practice with the task. Each task in each profession can be simplified into smaller tasks. We see examples of this in the teach method. The special educators here will know about structured teaching, about breaking tasks into small things like we see examples in sorting, in color recognition, screwing, in folding, in fine motor skills, and even gross motor skills. Fine motor skills is the detailed stuff like writing and picking things up, and gross is picking up heavier objects. And most important of all, the skill of waiting, patience, knowing when to wait, when to finish or conclude. So you have to learn how to wait also. The child must be taught. Next, yeah, that's right. If a child is verbal and does not have any major communication impairment, I refer to Asperger's syndrome. The main areas where you must work on are interests. The child must be interested in what they're doing. As children get bored very easily from repetitive work, so you must motivate them. And you must make things exciting. You can use cartoons, you can use stickers, you can reward them for progress and patience, you can encourage them by using the thing of their interest. Example, if the child likes dinosaurs, example, use a dinosaur theme to teach them. Like if an example explain to them a dinosaur has to pick up some red colored objects so he can eat them, and make the child pretend that he is a dinosaur, just scatter things on the ground, make a game out of it. So the most important thing is that you have to encourage and make it exciting. Use creativity. My sister is 9 years older to me. She used to bring home all her crafts projects from school and science projects, And I used to play with them, like small models of a zoo, dollhouse converted into an office, volcano that was made of plaster of Paris and paint. These are things which encourage me to look at the world around me and make a connection of the school projects she got home and the things I saw in books. Next. Number 4, it is absolutely essential for a child to see a natural work environment, whether on TV, movies, cartoons, books, comics, newspapers, or in real life. The visual factor is crucial. A child must recognize in real life things which he has seen or read about. This is very important. The child must be exposed before he actually goes to the environment about what it looks like. If a person has already seen something on television, it's not easy to get worried about it. Performance anxiety is very large in children with autism. Most will be shy. Sometimes the sound is not what overwhelms them, but the visual information. Too much information their mind cannot process, they cannot understand. Too much information. So if you do not understand something, if you do not recognize something, you fear that thing. Knowledge is the thing that gives motivation and confidence in strange environments. Next. The reward at home is replaced with a payment for good work done. This idea of getting something in exchange for work is very important. Something for something else, return, exchange. So children with autism, even if they are verbal and communicate easily, especially if they are Asperger's syndrome, the reality and daily routine of life must be told to them logically, in a structure, a formula. Example, good work equals to payment. Better work equals to more payment. Payment equals to toys, good food and other things. So therefore, work equals to payment equals to good things. Hence, work equals to good things. This concept of money or exchange is important to be understood by Asperger's, and with examples, the concept becomes easier to convey. Next. As I said before, with autism, the child in many cases has strengths, areas which attention, detail and effort is extraordinary. They have some talents and disproportionate also. There are also cases all over the world where people with autistic spectrum disorders are preferred in some exclusive areas of employment, provided they are trained properly. The experience must be given, let them try different things, give exposure to them. If they don't practice those things, how will they know if they are good at them? How many of us really expose our children to art, to music, to sculpturing, to animal handling, to computer programming and higher IT skills? Not all of us. You have to at least let your child be exposed to these things. These areas have been time tested where people with ASD have outperformed neurotypical people. The exceptions are always there, but the anecdotal evidence is increasing every day. You have more and more examples coming every day in these certain fields that children with ASD are superior at these skills. Most of them. Next. With proper training. Number 7, children learn by making mistakes. As they say, what does not kill you makes you stronger. How will a child learn by mistakes if he is not allowed to make any? The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. Do not be overprotective of your child. The question asked today is better than a question never asked. Answer their questions too. Next. Number 8, it is good for the child to have role models. Their teachers, their parents, siblings, brothers, sisters, even famous people who achieve good things. A role model shows there is a formula to life. If somebody else has done that, then he can do it too. This may not be the right way to think, but it is a good exposure for the child to have a role model. Encourage them to emulate it. Even if the child does not copy or emulate, at least he will know what society's definition of success is, so he can try working towards a goal. A role model is a goal. Without a goal, there is no motivation. Next. Number 9. The environment is important too. For normal children, they do not mind the noise, the smell, the light of the distractions, the texture of the carpet, the feeling of steel chairs, the sound of chalk on chalkboard, the smell of chalk dust, the ringing of the school bell, the sudden changes in schedule. But when these things happen with a child on the spectrum, breakdown happens, when behavioral problems happen. The child can become overstimulated and will react negatively to not learn things. It is important to have a quiet, dimly lit room where the person with the ASD can take time off. Take 5 minutes for a few minutes. If things become too fast or there is too much sensory stimulation, do not underestimate this. The quiet environment must always be there for the child to relax. Next. Number 10. The employer must know what the limitations of the person are. In my case, I prefer to work at home aside from when I teach in classes. So all the design work I do, communication happens on the phone or the internet, and I rarely visit the client's location other than to collect payments. Most of my design clients are happy. In spite of this, as I've been working for so long, my speed is very fast because I practice so much. And I use my interest and did so much work. I don't really have friends, so I have a lot of free time. And that work became my hobby, and I learned more about my work. It is like an obsession. So my mother forces me to go sleep at night because otherwise I would work at night. Next. The first job of a person with ASD must, the work that I do, it must be with a person who completely understands the limitations. I refer to family members, friends, or people who have a special interest in the child. They will tolerate mistakes and they will teach more. Do not estimate the learning that happens when somebody you know is close by. This is reassuring enough. Use your contacts, not rely on strangers initially. Next. Work is all about comparative advantage, about profit. Unless the kind of work a person with ASD is doing is exceptional, he will never stand out. It takes years of practice and patience and mistakes to get to the point where you can start standing out. It took me over 10 years of part-time work to learn my skills to the point that now people come to me from other countries to learn the same skills from me. Next. Number 13. Work is all about comparative advantage, about profit. No, I think this is the same thing. Next. Yes, number 14. Family must be supportive of the work. They must at least take some interest in the work. This leads to further motivation, encouragement, and even new opportunities. So family must be supportive. Most people talk about their children doing some new work with their friends and families. So they get opportunities to work in areas they would not have if they had not talked about it. So talk about their work to, be proud of their achievements. Next. Number 15. The spirit of competition should be there. Board games, computer games, school marks, these things encourage a child to become better, learn more, work harder, think more about improving himself. Do not underestimate even healthy competition. In work, competition is everything for success. Number 16. The role of community, friends, people who do the work with you, people who you meet at work. Since the person cannot be perfect all the time, there will be problems in communication. In some companies abroad, intelligence is measured not in IQ, intelligence quotient, but in EQ, emotional quotient. It is measured maturity and decision making. With Asperger's syndrome, relationships, people skills, these must be taught literally. I learned a lot from television, especially decision making. Number 17. I understand that appearances are not everything. A person will not judge a book by its cover. Do not underestimate a person with autistic spectrum disorders. While the mind may not work well in some areas, it will work in some cases very well in certain areas. And some areas where employment might benefit. No one can deny the visual memory ability with people on the spectrum. Some have audible memory, sound memory. These are good skills for storekeeping, for being a librarian or being a waiter. Next. Number 18. These skills might even be apparent without any special training. We call these things talents. They just come up automatically. In rare cases, spiritual skills. As Dr. Temple Grandin, who I talked about yesterday, says in her book Developing Talents, you have to do what you do best. If you do something really well, do it as a career. There are people with visual brains, where they learn by seeing. There are people with math or music brains, where they learn by hearing or calculating. Then there are non-visual thinkers with verbal brains. You have to tell them they do not understand visually, not very well. For those who get the opportunity to read this book, it will change your thinking and give you detailed references. This book is also available free of cost on the books.google.com website. It's called Learning Talents. Next. So, developing talents. Number 19. Using a good doctor and advice, in most cases medicine is good, but you have to consult a doctor and can help calm a person down with ASD. Again, this has to be tried out and it may take a few weeks to get used to. Hyperactivity, anxiety, again consult a doctor. And you must make sure it does not impact the working ability. Too much medication is a bad thing. By making a person who takes the medicine slower in response or sleepy. Work is not advised for those who are under heavy medication. Next. Do not completely rely on medication. Life skills must also be taught. Management of the problem is easier without medicine. If a person becomes used to medicine, what happens when the body becomes adjusted or immune to it? Heavier dosage is then given. Not a good idea. Next. More than medicine, exercise and a healthy lifestyle and outdoor activities will help a person learning more. Sports are very important. They help life skills also. Team activities. They help in cooperation with people. Next. Employment for people on the spectrum is a possibility, but first they must learn to control more of their bodies. It takes time, it takes patience, and sometimes even years to adjust to a job. Start at a young age and apply therapies. Learn by seeing videos on YouTube and searching employment information for autism on the internet. I'm certain if you give time to researching this, then God willing, you will be able to achieve success in your work.